point slope form is a little bit more complicated than the rest of it. And I just realized I skipped your all's table with the classwork. My bad. Hold on one second. That mistake. So these are the first one you'll see on your quiz tomorrow. This is obviously not slope-intercept form. This is point slope form. So remember, y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So there's no beginning point for you to start on this one. There's no y-intercept because it's not slope-intercept form. But you guys know how point slope form works, right? This is the x-coordinate, and that is the y-coordinate. So remember, what makes it confusing is that it's backwards, okay? First of all, the x is at the end instead of at the beginning. So when you go to actually graph this, it's going to be a 1. So you don't have a y-intercept, but you do have a point. So it's going to be a 1 is your x-coordinate. That 2 is your y-coordinate. And then here's the other thing that sucks about point slope form. It's backwards because the x is in the wrong spot. X comes first in a coordinate, but it's last in the equation. The other thing that sucks about it is that because of this subtraction in the formula, it also makes the signs opposite. So even though it's a positive 1 in the equation, that means that the original coordinate was a negative 1. And then because it's a positive 2 in the equation, that means that original y-coordinate was a negative 2. So when you pull the coordinate out, the same way that you have to write it backwards, if you do y minus negative 1, you got to turn that into a plus. When you pull it out to see what the point is, you got to think backwards too. So your beginning point, your very first coordinate for this particular equation is going to be negative 1, negative 2, which will be right there. Okay? Then you just use the slope like you normally do. Okay? You'll do that up to over 3 in order to get the slope. But finding the coordinate to start with is a little bit harder because it's backwards from what you think it should be. I had a kid that asked me a really great question in a previous class about whether or not they could just change it into slope-intercept form if they wanted to and graph it that way. The answer is yes, but sometimes it doesn't work out so good. Let me show you why. So we need to do our distributive property. So 2/3 times x, and then 2/3 times 1 is 2/3. And then if you go to get rid of the 2 with a minus 2, see how your y-intercept is going to end up being like a negative fraction? That's really hard to guesstimate where the y-intercept is. So that's why technically, can you switch it over and then graph it in slope-intercept form? You can, but a lot of the time it works out not nice and neat with a y-intercept that actually turns out to be a whole number. So that's the problem with that strategy. Even though it's a good one, it doesn't always work out to your advantage. So the coordinate is backwards. So now that I know where I'm going to begin, now I'm going to use that positive 2/3 to go up to and over 3, and then up to and over 3 again. And then connect it with a line. If you guys don't use a ruler tomorrow, I ain't taking it. Okay? Use a ruler. Make it go all the way across the graph. I've said it like a gazillion times. So the only thing that makes this one harder is that the point is backwards. So the x-coordinate is at the end, the y-coordinate's in front, and you've got to flip the signs. So I'm going to set a timer and shush and let you guys do number 2, number 3, 4, and 5, because they're all just like that. And then I'm going to give you the answers, 2, 2, 3, and 5, 2, 3, 4, and 5, shortly. So again, think backwards. So your x-coordinate. The x-coordinate is the one that's actually right here by the x. So your x-coordinate is going to be a 2. And then it was a minus 2 in the formula, or in the equation, which means it's going to be a positive 2. And then your y-coordinate is I meant to do highlighter, my bad, is 1. And because it's a negative in the equation, that means it's going to be a positive 1. So that's the part that's tricky. So you're going to start at 2, 1. So we go over 2, up 1 for your beginning point, okay? And then what number is technically in front of that X, even though we don't see it? There's a 1, and not just a 1, but a -1 there. So that means your slope is going to be a 1 over 1. So I'm going to go down 2 over 1. I'm sorry, I said down 2, and I'm sorry, down 1 over 1, down 1 over 1, like that. So it will be all the way across the graph, right there. Okay, I'll look at yours.
I started hearing what.
I'm going to leave that for 1 second for anybody that still needs it.
Oh yeah, you're still recording.
Oh, thank you, my bad. Okay, number 3. What's the X coordinate in there? What's your X coordinate? Not just a 3, but a -3, because once you put it into the equation, just write a Post-it note. It was a positive, so now it's going to be a negative. And then the 4, it's going to be a +4. So your first coordinate is -3 and +4. Then we're going to do the slope, which is -6 over 1. So I can go down 6 and over 1, down 6 over 1. Please use a ruler. Okay, that didn't look straight to me. Because that's -6 outside of the parentheses.
You went over twice, I think.
Yeah, I was like, something's right. You're right. Thank you. I knew it wasn't lining up right, and I was having too much of a brain cramp moment to figure out why. You're right, sir. Thank you. I did go over twice. That's why I couldn't get it to line up. There we go. All right. Number 4. What's your X coordinate? -2. Thank you for throwing in that negative. Your Y coordinate is a +1, right? Because it was a negative in the formula. So when I go to graph, -2, +1 is going to be my starting point. And now I'm going to use that slope of -1 over 2. So it's going to go, I'm going to zoom in here. So down 1 over 2. And then down 1 over 2 again. So this would have been one that if you did want to switch it over into slope-intercept, the y-intercept would have been a whole number, but that doesn't always happen. So that's your number 4. And last but not least, number 5. Sorry, my... Do what? So do you see what the back page looks like? Yeah, but you just did that yesterday. Yep. So theoretically, you should be in good shape. All right, number 5, my X coordinate, I'm going to go ahead and hustle now, is a -2. My Y coordinate is going to be a +1. So when I go to graph it, I should graph -2, +1, and then I'm going to use that slope of 1/4. So I'm going to go up 1 over 4, and up 1 over 4 again. All right, so what I'm going to do for the sake of time, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10 are just graphing in slope-intercept form. So I'm going to set a timer and just give you a couple minutes to do like 6 and just do 2, because I want to get to the equation ones too. So number 6 and 7, I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. Those are in slope-intercept form. So that's just plain old y equals mx plus b. So you're back to just doing the y-intercept and using the slope. So I'm just going to give you a couple minutes to do those 2 real quick. Because I would expect these are probably the easiest 2 on there. Set a timer for 3 minutes. Okay, 3 minutes for counting. You definitely need to use a ruler. Do it, go, please. Okay, where's my first dot gonna go? This one's in slope-intercept form. Where's my first dot? At -3. Y equals mx plus b. All right, bro. There, I'm trying to teach. All right, so then we got 6/4, or 6/5. So up 6, 3, 4, 5, 6, over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because it was two positives. And I don't have room for a third coordinate. Ruh-roh, that didn't go well. That didn't go well either. Oh my God, what's wrong with me? I am. I'm tired. Well, I told you about my sleep situation already. All right, that's good enough. And then for number 7, we're going to begin at that -3. And then we need to, sorry, I got to write down names of people that are on their phones just so I make sure I remember who is not eligible for a retake. And yes, I am being that petty because it's ridiculous. Giving you answers to your quiz. All right, so my slope, so I hope you do a good job tomorrow. All right, so 2/1 is your slope. And because it's a +2, you're going to go up 2/1. Then you're going to need to go up 2 and over 1 again. Okay, so that's your number 6 and your number 7. So I'm going to skip 8, 9, and 10 for now to make sure we have a chance to do one of each of every kind on here. So on number, so I'm going to, I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter if you do, I mean, on the quiz, you've got to.
I want to remember is the slope-intercept
Y equals mx. Flip over. You guys flip over 2 to number 11. I'm going to work number 11 for you, and then do 12, 13, 14. Okay, so first of all, this is asking for slope-intercept form. But it didn't give you a slope or a y-intercept, but it gave you a point and a slope. So you're going to have to start off by using point-slope form, okay? And then you've got your x1 and your y1 and your m. So then you're going to need to take the x1, y1, and your m and put it in there. So instead of y minus y1, what am I getting ready to put in there? Y plus, which one? 4. Good job. Yes, because it's minus a -4 equals, what am I getting ready to put in for the slope? -3. And instead of x minus x1, I'm getting ready to put in x minus 2. Now, if you stop here, you're not correct because it's asking for slope-intercept form. This is the most common mistake. I'm trying really hard to help you. This is the most common mistake people make on this quiz. They do this and they forget, the directions are asking me for slope-intercept form. So you still got to make that extra step. You got to do your distributive property to get rid of those parentheses. So -3x plus 6. And then we need to get the y by itself by doing a -4 on both sides. So the slope-intercept form of this is y equals -3x plus 2. Okay, I'm going to set a timer. Give you time to do 12, 13. Actually, just 12 and 13, so I have time to get to the end also. So 12 and 13 at least is your goal. Gotcha. All right, so we've got a point, we've got a slope. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So first I'm going to do, instead of y minus y1, I'm going to do y minus 4, because that's my y coordinate. Instead of m, I'm going to replace that with a 1. And instead of x minus x1, I'm going to replace that with an x plus 1. Because that is, lost my train of thought, minus a negative. So when you distribute to switch it over to slope-intercept form, 1 times x is just going to be 1x. 1 times 1 is just going to be 1. And then I need to get that y by itself. So how would I cancel out that -4? With a +4. Extra credit up, bonus question opportunity tomorrow. While this is technically right, what could I do to make it take the 1 away? If you see something like that tomorrow, if you don't need it, get rid of it. I won't count this wrong, but it'll be worth more if you remember to take away that 1. Okay?
What if it was -1?
If it was -1, that's a great question. It would just have a negative in front of it without the 1. Great question, though, Julian. SB. Lawrence, I'm coming, sir. I see you. Give you guys time to do. All right, I'm going to scroll number 13. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So that's my x, that's my y. So y plus 2, because it'll be y minus -2, equals 0, because that's my slope. And then x minus 3. When you go to distribute all that, what's 0 times anything? 0, right. So it's really just going to be y plus 2 equals 0. Then you need to get rid of the 2 on both sides. So it's y equals -2. But do you understand where you went wrong? I'll look at it in a minute if you need it. Oh. Nah, I'm going to work number 16 for you. I am going to post an answer key that has the answers we didn't do in class so that you can check those tonight and make sure that you're doing them correctly, because the point is to do it. So first of all, what's the key for slope-intercept form? What's the big thing we're missing this time? We don't even have a slope this time, right? So how do we get a slope? We have to do, I'm writing down the wrong letter. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So we have to subtract, so 5 minus -2, which is really going to be 5 plus 2. Then we have 0 minus 3. So 5 plus 2 is going to give us 7. 0 minus 3 is -3. So our slope is -7 over 3. Personally, if it came to choosing a coordinate for a point slope, shortcut. There's a shortcut for this one. You actually don't have to do any more work if you notice. Although actually on the quiz tomorrow, you don't have one like this. This is your y-intercept because the x-coordinate that goes with it is a 0. So it's actually going to be y equals -7 over 3x plus 5. But tomorrow you won't have one like that. You'll have to put it into point slope. Choose a coordinate to put in there. I'm just going to choose the first one because in the dark ages, teachers always made us do the first one because it makes it easier for them to grade. So I'm in the habit of always putting in the left coordinate. So that would be y plus 2.
I've always done the first one until this class.
Yeah, a lot of teachers require you to do that. Even though it's I just can't do that. I'm like, it's mathematically correct to do it the other way. All right. So far, I've got point slope, but we need slope-intercept form, right? So don't mean to add a line to that. I meant to add a rectangle so I have something to write on. Okay, you're allowed to use calculators tomorrow, but here's a shortcut. So first of all, to distribute that -7, 3x, right? -7 over 3 times 3. Since this means dividing by 3, and then you're turning around and multiplying it by 3, those 3's are actually just going to cancel each other out. So when you distribute that 7 over 3 to the 3, you've really just got a 7, because those 3's will cancel each other out. Or just use a calculator tomorrow to do -7 over 3 times 3. Either way, I don't care. We still have the y plus 2. So how am I going to get rid of that plus 2? By doing a -2. So y equals -7 over 3x plus 5. Okay, so because I wrote over the top of 17, you guys take these last couple minutes, do number 18, and I'm going to work it for the group, and then we're going to call it a day. So do number 18. All right, I'm going to go ahead and work 18 because I see what time it is and we got to go. All right, y'all. So first we got to get a slope because we don't have one. So we got to do y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So I'm going to do 5 minus 5 over negative 3 minus 5. So, oh, I put a negative in front of that 5, my bad. 5 minus 5 is, of course, 0 over negative 8. 0 divided by anything is 0, okay? So, when you put it into point slope, so y, I'm going to choose that coordinate. So y minus 5 equals 0 times x minus 5. What's going to happen when you do this distributive property? You don't have any, okay, extra credit opportunity again. Look up here, look up here. 0 times x is really just 0, right? So over on this side, it's really just y minus 5 equals 0. So then you're going to do plus 5 on both sides. So you have y equals 5. Okay.